Hello, students, how are you all? Today we are going to talk about a poem which is Laxman, and it has been written by Toru Dutt, the celebrated young Anglo Indian poet. Toru Dutt. Toru Dutt was born in 1856 and she died at a very young age in 1877. She was an Indo-Anglian poet and translator, and she wrote in three different languages: English, French, and Sanskrit. Her most celebrated work is A Chef Glynde in French Fields, which came out in 1877, and her other famous book is Ancient Ballads and Legends of Hindustan, which came out in 1882. The former book is a translation of French poems, while the latter book, Ancient Ballads and Legends of Hindustan, in this book, Toru Dutt wrote poems about ancient Indian culture, epics, legends, ballads, and other stories of India in English in this book. Nostalgia, longing, loneliness, patriotism, and a sense of tragedy, these are the issues with which she dealt, and she wrote poems about. The nostalgia, longing, loneliness, patriotism, and the sense of tragedy, which we find in her poetry, are from her own life and her own experiences, and they are the major concerns of her poetry. Laxman. This poem was published in Ancient Ballads and Legends of Hindustan. It is a kind of dialogue between Sita and Laxman, the two figures from our holy text, the Ramayana, and Ravan, the episode of Ravan, which we know that in which he hatched a conspiracy to kidnap Sita. He ordered Marich to take the form of a golden deer, and when Sita asked Lord Ram to fetch her the deer, Lord Ram searched and hunted down the deer. Marich, who had taken the form of the deer on the advice of Ravan, or on the order of Ravan, he cried in the voice of Lord Ram. So in this way, Marich deceived. He was deceitful, that he tried to deceive Sita by crying in the voice of Lord Ram. Sita then thought that it was her husband Lord Ram's voice, so she persuaded her brother-in-law Laxman to go in search of Lord Ram. Laxman at first did not want to go there, but when he was very much persuaded and convinced by Sita, so he became ready to search his brother, his elder and respected brother Lord Ram, to find him, to go to the jungle and find him. So this poem is about this episode, that how it all happened. So Toru Dutt in this poem has weaved this incident into a poem in English. So let's read the poem. Laxman. Hark, Laxman, hark, again that cry. It is my husband's voice, O hasten to his succor fly. No more hast thou, dear friend, a choice. In the beginning of this poem, Lakshman is told by Sita that she is hearing the painful cries of her husband. She asks him to go immediately to rescue Ram from the distress. She says that there is no option before him. He must at once start to the possible sport of trouble. She also says that her husband is surrounded on all sides by enemy. This is the reason that he is wailing. His painful cries shows that he is so seriously injured that he is on the point of death. But Lakshman stands indifferent to the request of Sita. He calls on thee. He calls on thee, perhaps his foes environ him on all sides round. That wail, it means death's final throes. Why standest thou as magic bound? Is this a time for thought? O gird thy bright sword on, and take thy bow. He heeds not, hears not any word. Evil hangs over us, I know. Swift in decision, prompt in deed, brave unto rashness can this be, the man to whom all looked at need. Is it my brother that I see? And no, and I must run alone, for further here I cannot stay. Art thou transformed to blind dumb stone? Wherefore this impious, strange delay? That cry, it seems to ring still in my ears. I cannot bear suspense. If help we fail to bring, his death at least we both can share. When Lakshman stands as magic bound, Sita instructs him while not to while away the time in idle contemplation. He should arm himself either with his sword or bow. He does not mind her words. Sita is very anxious on account of his husband and thinks that evil has environed him from all sides. She wonders at Lakshman's listlessness. Is he really Lakshman, the man to whom all looked at need? He is celebrated for his swift decision, prompt actions, and bravery. But now he is not showing anyone these qualities. When Lakshman does not pay any attention to Sita's words and stands dumb like a statue, she rebukes him for impious, strange delay. She makes up her mind to run alone into the forest to help her husband. Her husband's painful cry rings in her ears. She cannot bear suspense. If Ram is not accorded timely help, both of them will be equally responsible for his death. O calm thyself, Vedehin Queen. No cause is there for any fear. Hast thou his powers, his prowess, never seen? Wipe off for shame that dastard tear. What being of demonian birth could ever brave his mighty arm? Is there a creature on the earth that dares to work our hero harm? The lion and the grizzly bear cower when they see his royal look. Sun staring eagles of the air, his glance of anger cannot brook. Pythons and cobras at his tread to their most secret coverts glide. Bowed to the dust each serpent head, erect before in hooded pride. Now, in these poems, Lakshman replies to Sita and he addresses her as Videhin, Queen. Lakshman consoles her by saying that Ram's valor, his bravery is matchless, and hence there is no cause for any fear. She should wipe out her cowardly tears which express her unbecoming shame. No being of demonian birth can brave Ram's mighty arm. Ram is so powerful. There is no creature on the earth that can harm him. Lakshman says to Sita that Ram is the embodiment of valor. The lion and frightful bear crouch shrinkingly in his sight. Eagles fly high in the sky. And they cannot brook his sharp glances. Seeing him, pythons and cobras glide towards their secret coverts. The serpents, whose heads stand erect in hooded pride, bow down in his presence. So, rest of the poem we will discuss in lecture 2. Thank you for listening and watching the video.